Welcome to the State House Forum for Districts 31 and 32. It's a pleasure for me to be here this evening. I'm your moderator, Ann Samuelson, from the League of Women Voters of the Space Coast. We are televising live from the Doubletree in Cocoa Beach. This is the second in a series of forums sponsored by the League of Women Voters, Space Coast Tiger Bay Club, Florida Today, and Brevard Community College. So keep tuned for future announcements about upcoming forums in August that will be held at Florida Today. The purpose of this forum is to meet the candidates and to learn about their stand on important issues that affect you, the voters. I ask that each of the candidates thoughtfully consider each question and give the most specific and honest answer.
My name's Ron Stump, and I'm also a Florida native. I was born in Orlando. I've lived all over the state. My father was in the Air Force. We were stationed in Homestead, Florida, Tyndall Air Force Base up in Panama City, Florida. We've been in Pensacola. So I know the issues that are of concern to the people of this state and of this county. I've been an assistant state attorney in this state for the last 4.5 years, and I also did a tour of duty in Afghanistan as an infantry officer with the Army National Guard. And I've always been proud to serve my community and my country, and that's why I'm running for this seat. I believe the issues that we're facing are very important. Property taxes, property insurance, but also things more long-term like growth. They're expecting 10 million more people to move to this state over the next 20 years, and we have to start preparing for that. And that means changing the way things are working in Tallahassee, because we have to look more than just 2 years ahead to the next election cycle. We have to start looking at how we're going to provide energy and water to all those people who are going to move in here. That means nuclear power plants, water desalination plants, and those take time to build. So I'm going up to Tallahassee to help change the way things are run and to start looking for longer-term solutions to the serious problems that we're going to be facing in the years ahead.
What is the best approach toward responsible growth management in the state of Florida?
Growth may have stopped for the moment, but it's coming. It's on the way. Like I said in my opening statement, they're expecting 10 million people to move this state over the next 20 years. And we have to prepare for that in several ways. One is through growth management, managing our natural resources, our wetlands and open spaces, but balancing that with growth. And preparing both for the additional water we're going to need and with the additional energy we're going to need, which brings me back to my point in my opening statement of we're going to need nuclear power plants, we're going to need water desalination plants. And we have to plan for this. Yes, we do need infrastructure also, and we need to stop rating the Transportation Trust Fund, which was rated last year. But we have to start planning these things now. You can't just throw these things up overnight. And that requires, again, long-term planning, more than just looking a year or two out up to the next election. And that's what I want to go to Tallahassee to do, to bring this kind of vision to Tallahassee and to fight for what we need, because if we wait until it's too late, then we're really going to feel the impact of clogged roads, infrastructure breaking down, and out-of-control growth. We need to plan for it, and we need to do it smartly.
Mr. Stump, this question first to you. What is your position on the proposed constitutional amendment number 5?
I don't support amendment number 5. I think it would do a lot of damage to an already strained budget in this state and lead to further inequities in the real estate market and in property taxes. For those of you who don't know what Amendment 5 is, it's the proposal to cut property taxes by 25% and raise the sales tax by 1 cent. The unfortunate thing with this is it's not a net revenue neutral solution. I think the cut in 25% cut in the property taxes is going to lead to a loss of about $11 billion of income, and the 1 cent sales tax will raise about $4 billion. So you're going to have about a $7 billion gap in between the two. And what are you going to do? They're either going to have to raise taxes in some other ways, or they're going to have to slash services. And don't kid yourself. They say they're going to hold education harmless in this amendment, but don't believe it. Education would suffer. I believe that other vital services, police, fire, the court system, and the transportation budgets, as well as education, would suffer. I don't think that this is good for the state, good for our economy, or good for the long-term health of the people of this state.
What are your qualifications for the job you're running for?
For the last 6 months, I've been walking the entire district from Malabar to Satellite Beach, Melbourne Beach, to Palm Bay, all of Melbourne. And I've been talking to the voters, and really the best poll you can do is getting out and talking to voters. And what they are telling me over and over again is they're tired of the way things are being run in Tallahassee. They're tired of the lobbyists, the career politicians who they don't feel are representing them or the county very well. I'm running for this seat because what I bring to it is leadership. I've been both as an assistant state attorney in the courtrooms, prosecuting both misdemeanor and felony cases, and I also led troops in combat in Afghanistan as a rifle platoon leader and then as a battle captain. I know what it's like to make tough decisions, and I know that that's what we're going to need in Tallahassee. We're facing a lot of issues on the economy, on energy, on taxes, on property insurance, and we need somebody up there who's going to act independently, somebody who's going to show that leadership, and that's what I bring to the table.
Would you allow intelligent design to be taught in science classes?
I think there's room for both teaching creationism, intelligent design, evolution, whatever you want to call it. I think, in my educational experience at both high school, college, and post-college studies, I found that, when you really learned was when you had a spirited debate in school. And, that's where the ideas came out, opposing points of view, and you can discuss those in an environment that, with your classmates in a safe, secure environment where you can express those beliefs and hear other people's beliefs. So I don't have a problem with that. I think that all the theories should be put out there, whether you believe in evolution, whether you believe in creationism, intelligent design. I say put it out there, let it be discussed, and let the students make up their own minds.
Do you agree the taxes are still too high and need to come down significantly? And what specific reforms would you support that would make a more equitable tax system?
I think the first thing that we have to do is make sure that Amendment 5 is defeated. Next thing we need to do after that is start taking a look at all these exemptions that have been given to special interest groups throughout the state. And, do they really need these? How much of these were just political gifts? Start cutting those out. I think what we don't need to do is start cutting vital services, start cutting education and transportation budgets, and keep raiding the trust funds. And that's one thing that I would really push hard to prevent is any more raiding of the Sadowski Housing Fund, the Transportation Trust Fund, or any of these other funds, because that's what's going to damage our long-term future. What they're doing is they're taking things that we need to develop economically in the future, and they're using them for a stopgap payment because they don't want to make the hard decisions that we need to cut unnecessary spending. And we have to also, again, prioritize. Everybody wants to have everything. The Florida Forever program, parks, libraries, everything else, and all these things are important. But in tight times like we're having, and like we're going to have, because they're expecting more budget cuts next year, we have to prioritize and say, you know what, we'd like this, but we can't afford it this year, so we're going to afford the fundamentals, and we're going to fund those adequately. Education, job growth, infrastructure. That's what we need to focus on, and we need to do it now.